everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be showing you how you use placements and zones in your episodes. So I'm gonna actually briefly explain the placements because I already have set an example of this and I'll show you it afterwards. So you have the main idea about what is placements. So first off, you have to always put at and the character's name. Just like I have right here. As you can see, I put at. And then Taylor, for example, because that's the character I have. And then I put the word stands, because that's where we want her to stand. Stand is the direction that you want them to do. And then I put screen center, and I put and Taylor faces left. Because I put screen center because that's one of the placements you can pick. And I put the and because I wanted her to be facing a certain direction. And I recommend you guys actually doing that too, because if you don't, episodes will actually make your character face a certain direction that you did not want them to. So this way, it takes away that error that you have them facing one direction when you actually want them facing a different direction because episode placed them in that direction. So then you put the character's name again, but without the at symbol this time, because you don't need the at symbol because you already put in the verse. And the word faces and the direction left or right. So the different directions you can actually have them facing is left and right. But the screen placements that you can have them on are screen center, so right here, screen left, screen right, up screen left, and up screen right. Those are all the directions. So I'm going to show you now what that looks like to have it actually like that, because this is a super important thing to actually do, because without having them stand in a certain direction, you might actually need to use the episode, and I recommend you actually do, because it makes it easier. So like one character enters and the other character actually is already there. It's useful, so just watch. So yeah, so they're all standing, if you have noticed, in that scene right there. So the next thing I'm going to show you is zones. Now, for zones, there are different zones in episodes. This can be 1 zone, 2 zones, 3 zones, 4 zones. So I'm going to use an example of a 4 zone. So I'm going to use this EXT Romantic Lakeside Day, because that actually has 4 zones. So I'm going to have my character, Taylor, enter from left to screen left. That's because we're going to have her, and then I'm going to have them pan zones. Now, the pan command actually makes it camera move from one zone to the other zone you have them hand. So I'm going to put at pan to zone 4. And then I'm going to have at pause for a beat, because I wanted to pause there for a second. And then I'm going to put at pan to zone 1. Okay, now I'm going to show you what this looks like, so you can see exactly the pans to each zone that happens. So just watch the corner here. So you see it enters and it pans to zone 4, which is right here, and then it pauses and pans back to zone here. But if it's a romantic scene, you might actually want it to pan more slowly, because that scene is too fast for a romantic scene. But I kind of have a romantic scene setting there. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to have them pan to each zone individually. So, for example, this is what it's going to look like. So I'm going to put at pan to zone 2. Then in the next line, at pan to zone 3, and in the next line, at pan to zone 4, and after that I'm going to have at pause for a beat again, because I actually want it to pause just for a sec there, and then I'm going to put at pan to zone 3, at pan to zone 2, and at pan to zone 1. Okay, and that's what it's gonna look like when you do it. I'm just gonna add powers for a beat here, so we pause this for a second, and I'm gonna show you exactly what this looks like in this display right here at the side. And there we go. So you saw how it was slowly moving to each zone. And that's perfect for a romantic scene. Another thing you might actually want your character to do is walk to another zone, but if you actually put at character's name, walks to screen center in zone 3, it actually, the character will do that, but the camera will stay stationary on zone 1. So it's going to look like your character actually walks off the screen. But to eliminate that from happening, that's when the follow command comes in. So I'll show you the follow command. So you actually put at in all lowercases follow, and then the character's name, Taylor, to screen center in zone 4. Now I'll explain what this does actually. So the at follow will make the camera actually follow Taylor to the screen center in zone 4. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put at pause for a beat underneath, so it pauses for just enough time for you to see it actually happen. So I'm just gonna show you in the display right here what it looks like when a character is being followed by the camera. So you see the character is walking, and then stop screen center. The reason you actually have to like put screen center, screen left, up screen, whatever direction you want them to walk to, it's because it actually will actually have to stop at a certain point, and the character will not stop if you didn't put stand, and it will show an arrow if you don't put stand screen center in whatever zone you're going to have them into. So another command that you actually will going to need to probably use is cut. Now what the cut one does, it cuts to a specific zone, which is all pretty simple. You put at cut to zone 1. And what the cut command will do, it will actually cut the camera wherever it is all the way back to the zone you have it on when it to be. Now it's really useful if you just want to like all of a sudden change to a certain zone and not having to pan. It's really useful then. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm actually going to have another character enter, and I'm gonna have it be Thomas. So at Thomas enters from map to screen center. And then the character will enter that on zone 1. Now, to actually have your character come back this other way to meet the character that's in the scene now, this is the follow command again. So I'm going to have her come back at, I'm going to go at cut to, no, I'm just going to have it follow at follow. And I'm going to have actually Taylor come back into the scene. So I'm going to Taylor enters from right, because that's where the scene is happening, to screen right. and I will actually make it seem like the character was actually walking back all the way to where she was from. And or another thing you could actually do is, I'll show you just below this, at cut to zone 4. And if you don't know if the character is still staying there, you can actually use the preview to see if they're staying there still. But if you don't want to risk it, just put the character's name at and the character's name. Stands screen center. And Taylor faces left. And then after that, I can act follow Taylor and that's actually what the character is going to do. And we already have a possibility there, so I'm going to save this. And I actually recommend pressing the save button as many times as you can as you're editing this one, because it actually helps to know what it is. You see, because this is what it looks like when errors happen. So you're going to see an exclamation point here, and you're going to see a warning here. So then you can actually fix it. And here's another error I caused, just did purposely right here. And yeah, so this is actually super useful. So instead of actually having the character do this, so this is really useful when you're actually having characters do this. So I just want to point out some few things that you have to remember. The words you have to remember when you're doing a story is the words at and the character's name for the commands. And always remember not to put the at symbol after when you have the word and you want a character to be facing this direction. Or you want and I want the character to be doing this animation as he does it. Or he does it. And another thing you always have to remember, I'm going to show you right here, because I still have you. So I'm going to take it this way. So to tell if a scene has more than one zone, here are some tips. So if a scene actually looks like this long, it's most likely to have more zones. And if it's like this, it only has one zone. So I'm going to show you the one I did. So you can see how long this one is. So this one has 4 zones. This one right here will only have 3 zones. So just so you know that it's pretty obvious, that's how you can tell how many zones a scene has. And another thing, you have to remember these 4 commands. You have to remember the word pan, so you can actually have the camera pan 3 zones. You have to remember the word cut, because the cut is how you cut to a certain zone. And you have to remember the word follow, because if you want the camera to follow a character to a different zone, that is key to it. Those are all stuff you have to remember. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial today, and I'll see you everyone in my next tutorial.